Hello everyone, thanks for coming. And today I would like to give you a review of what we have learned in week 4, the second part of this chapter, live tables and selection. So first, we have different survival models for policyholders. In general, we have the EMLT 15, which is the English Life Table 15. A relatively new research is a continuous mortality investigation for the English population, so there are some differences. But the biggest difference is the selection process, which states that the mortality for the selected life, which means the person who buys the insurance, is different from the general population. So it's called the life insurance underwriting. In the first several years after purchasing the insurance, the mortality rates for the buyers are much lower than the average level because before buying the insurance, the buyers will need to provide the health certificate or undergo the examination process. After that selection period, for instance 5 years, the mortality rates for the buyers and the average population converge to the same. So again, if the selection period is 5 years, then after 5 years, the mortality for the insurance buyers only depend on the current age. So we have the general life tables, but we also have the select life tables for the insurance buyers. Suppose the selection period is D and the selected time is X, which means that the buyer buys the insurance at age X. If T is larger than D, the selection period, then the survival probability for the selected life is the same as the unselected life. But if T is smaller than D, then the probability of survival for the selected life is not equal to the general life. Usually, the probability of survival is greater for the selected life because they undergo the selection process. So here are some examples of how to use the select life tables to calculate the survival probability P and the death probability Q. For instance, the delayed Q after 2 years for the death probability in the next 6 years when the selection happens at 30 years old is 2 times P 30 plus 2 times Q 6Q 30 plus 4. So because the selection happens at the age 30 years old and the selection period is 4 years, so we have 6Q 30 plus 4 equals to 6Q 34. The second example is to calculate 5B 68 plus 2 when the selection happens at 68 years old. The selection period is 3, and then we decompose it into the product of 2P. Finally, the example is we decompose the survival probability P into the product of 3 survival probabilities when the selection period D equals to 2. So the selection happens at 70 years old. So we decompose 4P 70 by 1 P70 times 1 P70 plus 1. So after the selection period, we have 2 P72. This is the same as what we can calculate from the general life table, the last term 2 P72. So it is important that we know how to use the select life tables to calculate the survival probabilities when we consider the selection process. Thank you.